Have you ever had a conversation that just somehow turned into a full conflict? One moment you just have a nice interaction, and the next moment it all turns into a full-blown conflict. Maybe you've tried to explain yourself, but the other person just doesn't get it. Or even worse, they twist your words, or they just make up things that you never said. We've all been there. It's tiresome, it's draining, and you just don't know what to do. It's something it feels like arguing will never change anybody's mind. But here's the truth. They don't have to be bad. If done right, it can be conversations that can strengthen relationships and allow you to understand each other's points. My name is Bogdan Popescu, and I'm an assistant professor at Cabot University in Rome. I also used to teach at Princeton and in Oxford. In my courses, I teach students political science, research skills, but also how to argue and debate more effectively. In this video, I'll show you how to argue without sounding like a jerk. We'll go over some of the best practices, some common bad practices, but also some common good practices. By the end of the video, you'll learn not just to avoid conflict, but also how to make every conversation productive. We're also going to go over an example of a bad debate and learn from it. So let's dive right in. Let us first explain some important concepts. Debate hygiene is an important concept in every debate. It's a set of unwritten rules that make a conversation productive instead of being painful. It's about how you argue, not exactly what you argue. Some things that are included here are allowing your interlocutor to speak before you intervene, summarizing your interlocutor's argument before you try to explain your position, avoiding personal attacks and eye rolls. You're not trying to attack the person, but you're trying to engage with the argument, and staying on topic as opposed to adding red herring argumentations, meaning avoiding the main topic of conversation or adding random statistics that have no relevance for the main theme. Without debate hygiene, nobody is listening. Everybody is waiting for their turn to speak without really engaging and understanding your interlocutor's position. And when you stop listening, then you stop learning. This is something that happens very often in modern social media engagement. So where everything collapses into chaos. Zero hygiene, just verbal junk food. That's what that is. So what are some common bad habits? At the highest level, one of the most common bad habits is interrupting the other person without letting them the opportunity to finish. You think ahead, you think you understand their idea, but you're not allowing them to fully explain their position. It could also be a series of ad hominems. Ad hominems are examples of attacking the person, but not the argument itself. The gotcha move is something that happens when you clearly try to win the argument as opposed to understand the argument. The point of any debate should be to learn from one another and to reach a commonly agreed logical conclusion as opposed to have a personal game that's made in order to win. Talking louder instead of smarter is definitely one other common bad habit. So just by thinking that raising the volume wins the argument is actually fallacious, it's erroneous. Just speaking louder does not necessarily mean you're winning a debate. Let us now move to some of the good habits for debates. So first of all, let the other person finish their point. By allowing the other person finish, you allow them to fully express their point of view and also allows you to understand their opinion completely. Second, you could also summarize their opinion before you get to express your point of view. So you could say something along the lines of, if I understand correctly, you're arguing this. This also allows the opponent or the interlocutor to express any corrections to make sure that they communicated their idea effectively. The third important good habit here is to ask smart questions. So you could say things like, let me walk through your logical or through your thinking process and let me make sure that I get this right. Or can you ask, why do you think that? Like to fully articulate or fully ask the person to express their positions clearly. So these are all examples of questions that encourage dialogue as opposed to conflict. Let us now watch a video that emphasizes a big problem in debate, which is debate hygiene, where you're trying to interrupt your interlocutor. This is beyond, or you're utilizing ad hominem attacks extensively. So I'm sure this, as a result of this debate, the Jubilee got a lot of visualizations. But let us watch it and try to identify some of the fallacies that I mentioned earlier.
Jasmine, nice to meet you. Okay, so you say that women are more fulfilled at home with kids than going out into the workforce or getting educated, but that just really doesn't bear out when you look at the stats, when you look at how working mothers are way less likely to be in poverty. Maternal education is the #1 predictor of childhood outcomes, better scores, getting higher incomes in the future, fewer behavioral problems, better mental health. So it's weird to me and college-educated women are least likely to get divorced, and they're the only women, the top 10% of women are the only women whose marriage rates are going up. So they're getting married, they're staying married, and their kids are doing better. When you look at stay-at-home mothers, you see that they're more likely to report being depressed, they're more likely to report having anxiety and anger and all these types of things. So how can you say that? Seems like a woman, if you want to get married and have kids, you should go to college and have a career.
So Jasmine is providing an impressive list of counter-arguments or counter-evidence to the claim. But remember, the claim that Candace put forward is that no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children. So the list of factors that Jasmine is impressive. So she mentioned, for example, women are less likely to be in poverty if they work. But remember, the claim is that no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment. So poverty versus fulfillment. She's kind of using proxies there for fulfillment without clarifying that she's doing that. She's mentioning maternal education improving childhood outcomes. But remember, the claim is raising children makes women fulfilled. She's emphasizing that college-educated women are less likely to get divorced. But remember, raising children makes women fulfilled. Or she's mentioning that college education improved childhood outcomes. Remember, the claim is raising children makes women fulfilled. So the most obvious counter evidence that Jasmine is presenting is to say that stay-at-home mothers are more depressed, more anxious, and more angry. So this is more clearly connected to the notion of fulfillment. So what Jasmine is doing there is utilizing other proxies for fulfillment, such as poverty risk, stability, the happiness of their own children. So without clarifying that, somebody in the debate will clearly make the point that's unrelated to the definition of fulfillment.
It sounds to me like we are looking at totally different statistics, because everything that you said, I've actually read the exact opposite.
I'm glad we're on a fact check show with you.
Right, exactly.
Oh, it's so exciting.
That's going to be amazing. Okay, because I know, like I said, I think what we're talking about is that there was this widespread report on female happiness, and I know that it was formally debunked, and it was
That's not what I'm talking about. Pew Research,
Right.
University of California. In fact, working mothers today spend more time with their children than women did in the 1960s that were at home.
Okay, well, women that are at home are obviously spending more time with their children than the people who are at work.
And their
today.
children are not faring off any better,
Okay.
and they're faring off worse.
How are you measuring their children faring off worse?
How likely they are to higher incomes, better scores, fewer health problems, fewer behavioral issues, and better mental.
So the just to get back to the claim that I'm making here is that it is obvious that women who have children are going to be more fulfilled.
How is
right?
that obvious? Because you said so?
No, it's not obvious because I said so. It's because when you look at all the statistics in terms of women who are choosing not to have families, they are, as the person who just sat here before you mentioned, they are suffering from more depression, they're suffering from more anxiety. And
that's not true.
Okay, so this is an example of correlation mixed with causation, just presenting correlational evidence and taking that as evidence for causal relationships. So the point here is that women who choose not to have families are suffering from more depression and anxiety. This is what Candace is emphasizing. So that's a good rebuttal. However, she treats higher anxiety among childless women as proof that not having children is the cause behind anxiety. So some of the factors that could explain why childless women are more anxious could have to do with stigma, the very fact that society stigmatizes them, economic insecurity, life stage, social isolation. So all of these factors could be confounders that could explain social anxiety. So Candace here is trying to attribute not having children as a cause for anxiety.
Okay, it is true. It is actually true that women who are choosing their careers over starting families are finding themselves leaning more onto medicines like Xanax, anxiety-inducing medicines, and depression because they suspended that time frame where women really should be looking to find a partner and to start a family because they were instead pursuing their careers.
And why are they better off?
It is a dishonest, it is totally a dishonest narrative that men and women want the same things out of life. We don't.
So that's interesting. I would say it's a non sequitur type of fallacy. So this means that what she's emphasizing does not immediately connect to the original point that she's making, which was, remember, no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children. So I guess she's implying a premise there. So the first one is that men and women want different things in life. One of those natural differences is that women naturally desire to become mothers more than career success. Therefore, women will be more fulfilled if they raise children. So that's kind of, I would say, that's kind of the hidden syllogism behind Candace's position. However, it is not obvious, again, this is connected to the appeal to nature logical fallacy. It's not clear why women are more fulfilled by motherhood, because, and how this is connected to this idea that men and women want the same things in life.
We absolutely do not want the same things out of life. In fact, we don't even measure success the same. Men and women don't even measure success the same.
So,
okay?
but tell me how the women who are working and getting educated, why are they faring off better in all of these?
I am telling you that I do not believe they are faring off better in all of these measures.
Because of what?
I am telling you that we are looking at totally opposite statistics. Like, so you're sitting here telling me that the statistics show that women who are working are producing better children. But I am saying that women that grow up in a two-family home where the mother stays at home are faring off better than the children who are being raised in an environment
where the women are working,
where both of the parents are
why don't
working
you
away
stay
from
home?
the home. I do get to work from home.
No. But
that's the irony.
I've watched your show. You talk about all the nannies you hire, and it's so hard to find a good nanny.
So that's kind of a typical ad hominem attack that Jasmine is launching here. So essentially, she's saying that you say women are happy at home, but you have nannies. Therefore, your claim is invalid. That's what Jasmine is suggesting. So Jasmine is clearly targeting Candace's first situation and lifestyle rather than the logic of her argument. Of course, she's potentially emphasizing hypocrisy, but that doesn't invalidate Candace's logic.
All of the nannies I hire, I spoke about how difficult it was to find a babysitter who knew how to cook a meal.
That's interesting. So instead of going back to the original point, Candace is going forward with Jasmine's provocation. So I would say that this is now a red herring argumentation. So rather than focusing on the claim, which is no career will give women as much joy and fulfillment as raising children, now Candace is moving to, I spoke about how difficult it was to find a babysitter who knew how to cook meals, right? So now instead of addressing the main issue, she's pivoting into complaining about women babysitting and the inability of the young women that she's hiring to cook meals. So obviously the original point was to talk about fulfillment, not about whether babysitters, the young women that Candace is hiring, whether they can cook macaroni or not. So it's not clear why babysitters cannot cook, how that is connected to women should stay at home being more fulfilled, or how the idea of staying at home would bring more fulfillment to women.
And that's because
you don't need a babysitter. You're already, you could retire right now.
You have to let people respond to you when they're speaking.
You don't want to.
To respond to you when
you don't want to. You want to be working, which is great.
So this is a really interesting debate, and the very reason why I even chose it is because there's something important beyond all these logical fallacies that one should pay attention to, which is debate hygiene. Just interrupting, speaking louder than your interlocutor does not make you a better debater, does not give you the upper hand. And I feel that logical hygiene is something that everybody in society should learn to adhere more. You should listen to your interlocutor. You should try to respect your interlocutor. You should try to summarize their point and ask them if that's a fair representation of the argument rather than constantly interrupting them and not allowing them to speak.
You're telling me what I want now and then accusing me of telling you.
Wait, you don't want to work?
Can you just let me finish? Because you've said so many words that what you're trying to do here, like your argument style, is I'm going to say so much and not let her get a word in and then walk away and feel like I've won. We're not having a conversation because you've not letting me respond to even one of your points. Okay. What I am saying to you, first to answer what you just said, which was a lie, what I spoke to you about on the weekends is that it's been increasingly difficult to find a 25-year-old who even knows how to make boxed macaroni and cheese, right? And that's crazy. That is in large part due to feminism. Women don't even focus. Like there's this.
So there's two, I would say, errors here. One would be false cause, so attributing cause to something, but also hasty generalization. So why is this a false cause? So you assume that one social change, which is feminism in this case, which came before another, which is the decline in cooking skills, so this is the cause that she's implying here. So feminism is really the cause behind young women not cooking enough, right? And she used her own example, the fact that very few of her nannies can cook macaroni. So she's obviously missing out on other factors here, including the fact that many more people don't cook at home anymore, the rise of fast food culture, the delivery culture, which are obviously confounders, right? Those could also be explaining why people in general don't cook as much, not just the young women. Then there's also something to be said about people working longer hours, right? Just because it could very well be the case that because people are working longer hours, this prevents them from cooking as much. So it's difficult to say what it's feminism that caused young nannies to be unable to cook. And second, this is also hasty generalization because she's hastily generalizing from her own personal anecdote, the fact that she wasn't able to find a nanny who can cook. Now she's generalizing to young women today can cook because feminine. So two errors into one, false cause and hasty generalization.
There's this idea that women shouldn't be cooking. Like there's something fundamentally wrong with women even learning how to cook.
Are you
know what I mean?
spending as much time with your children as you possibly can? Because that's the way to get the most fulfillment.
No, and that's what I'm trying to say. I am speaking to you
as... Then stop.
Okay, could you please let somebody get in
I did.
A word edgewise?
I let you finish.
You're not. You actually have not let anybody...
So again, this is another issue with debate hygiene and an inability to have a respectful debate.
Like I said, it's no one benefits when you're just speaking over me and not allowing me to respond. All you're proving is that you have an attitude and you believe in feminism, but you're not. That's what I'm saying. You just have an attitude, and it's not cute. It's performative.
I'm actually my point.
So clearly, this is now becoming into an ad hominem. So Candace is doing kind of similar things. So in the same way, Jasmine at the beginning accused Candace of hypocrisy by saying that you have nannies. So essentially, you cannot talk about parenting. And now Candace is doing the same thing. You're being performative and you have an attitude. So this is like a very good example of minimal debate hygiene. And obviously it's very difficult to engage with somebody's point if you're not letting them speak.
I will be quiet if you address my point.
Does anybody actually feel here that I am being allowed to address any of her points when she just keeps running over me? Like, I'm literally trying to answer your first point of you saying that I don't stay at home.
Yeah,
fair point.
Really weird.
Fair point. Obviously, I get that you're all anti-Candace and pro-feminist, but also it's not productive if you're not actually...
Okay, address the point. You spend more time saying that I'm not addressing, that you don't have a chance to talk. I mean, the whole time you could have addressed the point. Okay. You could have talked.
I
go for it.
Just want you to know that you're not coming across as somebody who wants to actually have a conversation. So to get back to the claim, because I don't even know where you're at. You're now talking, you're saying that I said stuff in my podcast.
I'll go wherever you want to go.
I never said.
I'll go wherever
so do you want to start with me working at home? Because I work at home. You just said something about me working at home.
You travel all around the world.
Okay,
you do speeches, and I love that. I love how ambitious you are. That's a really great trait. And if you were truly said that, you would be more fulfilled. Now, one thing you do find is women, they don't want to stay at home when you pull them. They just want flexible working hours and flexible working conditions like you have. And I think we should all advocate for that. It's not one or the other. But when you sit here and you go, you'll be more fulfilled doing this and spend all your time doing that, we would love for you to leave the public eye and go focus on what makes you fulfilled.
Okay.
I hope you enjoyed this video and you learned something about how to have productive dialogues as opposed to conflict. If you enjoyed it, please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, and drop me a comment if you're interested in me making other kinds of content. Thank you. See you in the next video.